When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ledlow, and enjoy today's episode. Hello, everybody. This is Mark Ledlow, your host of the Fearless Mindset Podcast. And we are changing it up a little bit. We're going to talk about the training, executive protection, family legacy. And as you guys can see, we have Bethany joining us all the way from Colorado. And she looks nice and warm and cozy over there with all the snow they're getting, I'm sure.
Trying to be nice and warm over here. Actually, we have no snow. It's about 50, 60 degrees outside today, but still cold.
And so Bethany's joining us, and I just wanted to highlight Bethany's journey. And congratulations to your son going off to Marine Corps Boot Camp Recruit Depot today, or yesterday, whenever that was. He's off to get his rear end whip.
Yes, he is. I don't think he knows what he's in for, but I'm very proud of him for making that choice. It's, he could have walked into any career in the military with his scores, his ASVAB scores, but he chose the Marines.
Okay.
You have to earn everything that you get in the Marines, unlike the rest of,
Yeah, I had fond memories of those yellow footprints getting yelled at 3 a.m. going, what the heck did I just do? And the guys would be, oh my God, I want my mommy. I'm like, really? So yeah, he'll be calling you in about a couple months. Maybe he won't. Maybe he might just love it. Hey mom, I'm graduating.
Who knows?
Who knows? Well, congratulations on that. That's a big accomplishment for being a mom, I'm sure. But you got a lot going on. I mean, you've been in the family business for a while, and you were in it for a bit, and life changes, life season change, and now here you're back. And in your early years as Bethany, were you ready? Were you who you are now?
No. In no way, shape, or form was I ready to take on, the position which I've taken on here at ESI. It took me leaving for 8 years, going out, getting my bachelor's, my master's, running a marketing department for a Ford store, learning, the fine arts of contract negotiations, and having a great manager as a mentor who really showed what leadership is about in order for me to come back to formulate my own management skills to properly run, Executive Security International.
So you had 8 years of like a sabbatical hiatus, different industry, automotive industry, dealing with people, cars, and vehicles, and whatever you dealt with. And
angry customers.
Pissed off about their warranty being expired. They didn't know it. The sure fault.
Yes. All of those lovely things, the hail, got their car, and somehow that's our fault, 5 years after they purchased it. So it's always fun. The automotive industry definitely teaches you a lot about the way people think and the way that people behave, for sure. When you're looking at everything from a consumer standpoint. And you can't be reactive to every qualm. You've got to be able to take everything that somebody comes to you and says and think about it rationally, logically, and help them realize that we can have a solution for the problem without making the problem worse.
Mm-hmm. Conflict resolution. So it's basically the car dealership's like your MBA course, preparatory course to get you ready for what you're doing now.
Yeah, I would definitely say so.
In the early years of Bethany, when we first met years ago, who were you then? What's the difference between who you are then and now who you are now? How'd you express that?
I'm not going to say that I'm not still quick to react, but was definitely much less emotionally mature. I was in my early 30s, late 20s, raising 2 young kids on my own, still hadn't figured out really who I was as a person. And, just kind of trying to figure out, what I wanted to do with my life myself. And so I would definitely say that I was a little bit lost and not nearly as confident. So in myself, I completely 100% lacked confidence in my capabilities 8 years ago.
Wow. That takes a lot of courage to even admit that, that takes that frivolous mindset to go, I need to be somebody before I can be ready for that journey. I need to become.
Yeah. And I knew, when you're raising 2 young kids on your own and you're doing, and you're trying to have a career, you've got to, you see all the things that you want for yourself and for your family. You really have to put aside, your own ego and go, okay, I need to improve in these areas and in this way, or else I'm never going to be able to obtain the things that I want for myself, for my life, and for my peace of mind and my center. So I don't know if you call it, sometimes it's perseverance, sometimes it's grit, sometimes it's acknowledgement that you're not perfect.
But once you realize, hey, I'm not perfect, but I'm okay with myself, let's do this. It's like you remove that fear thing in your mind and go, hey, I am who I am. Take me or leave me. You have that confidence and you're ready to rock and roll.
Yep. And, it's important to not need everybody's validation, because not everybody is going to agree with your life's choices. Not everybody's going to agree with your choices for your company. And some people just aren't going to agree with you just because you are who you are. And you just got to dust that shoulder off and let them disagree with you.
Would you say you developed more thicker skin over the years than you had in your 30s now? You're like, whatever.
Most definitely. The things that people say about me now, I'll address them head on, when they want to bring up my past when I was, 18, 19, 20. I have no problem, addressing those things head on.
Sure.
And, like I was 18, I was 19, I was 20 years old. I was young. I was dumb. I made a lot of mistakes, but
Sure.
That's not who I am. And so it's taking the bull by the horns and saying, you know what? Everybody can, discuss those things openly. Yeah. And I don't have a problem if you want to think of who I was when I was 18. That's not my problem, because hopefully I grew, and hopefully I'm not the same person, 20 years later.
Yeah, I think we all change. We all evolve, It's like, am I the same person I was, in my 30s? Heck no, of course not. Maturity, you lose parents, life, a loss happens. Life just deals crap at you, and you're just like, okay, I'm going to stand tall and keep moving. And those who hate will hate, and those who respect you will respect you, And they go, good job. We should be in this life congratulating each other, lifting each other up, because life, as you know, is short.
It is most definitely way too short to focus on the past and not to think about your future and how to, continue to move forward, and to let all of those things go that hold you up and keep you back. And a lot of times I think people hold themselves back. I guess that's where, some people sometimes will say, well, you need to check your ego. Well, maybe I do, but maybe you don't understand that I didn't have one. I lacked confidence, 10 years ago in myself. Now I have confidence in my abilities. And so if you don't like that confidence, it's not my ego. It's just that I don't care what you think.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't.
So how have you changed? What are probably the wins in your life that you're proud of your past?
Well, I guess we'd have to, talk about what is the past. So, let's see here. How old was I? I was 20 years old. I was addicted to methamphetamines. I was making a decision at that time. I was thinking about getting sober. And then a few hours before I was supposed to get on a bus to come back to the family ranch to get sober, a girl attacked me with a knife. She stabbed me over 7 times, once here in the face, 3 times in the back of the neck, a couple times on the skull, once here on my arm, another in my back. I managed to take this knife away from her, and I stabbed her once, punctured her lung, and she died.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. So, obviously self-defense. As my father said, the only thing I ever did wrong in that was that I didn't take the knife from her sooner. But so, when you look at that kind of past, that kind of trauma and holding it in, the proudest thing that I have done is overcome my trauma and my past and the drug abuse and, created a successful career, a loving home for my children, and a lack of judgment for those people who have gone through hardships themselves, and still having a kind nature and being able to say, I see that you have a problem, but if you have the right hand outstretched, then maybe you can overcome those problems. Because, without the support of, a loving family, I never would have been able to get sober, to clean up, and to, not become a statistic.
Wow. So true.
Overcoming all of that, I have multiple college degrees now. I think I'm running a very successful company that has a 5-year legacy behind it. But, not everybody's perfect, and everybody has a past. And, some people can't let go of their past and it just holds them down. Other people can use their past to grow and try to have a successful career, or successful life, I should say.
What did you learn from your father during that tough time of your life when you went through all that and self-defense and trying to get out of that hole, the math and all that? What was that like, that relationship with your father?
It was very, very tough, because I was coming from, being a drug addict. There was no trust, because you can't trust a drug addict. At that time, he did offer me like a measly position within the company, to try to help me get, my feet stable. And so that was the first time I came back. So I was 22. Spent about 9 months at the company, and it just wasn't the right fit. Wasn't ready for that. Went on my way, had some children, came back. But he never had his opinion of me was not a very high one, because I had broken all the trust by being a drug addict. I'd broken trust by, not being able to meet deadlines, goals. I looked like I had no goals. It looks like I had no life aspirations. And, because of such early drug use, that emotional regulation, just wasn't there. So I was so quick to always react emotionally to absolutely anything and everything. And so when you react emotionally to something, people don't take you seriously.
Right. Wow.
So, and so it took many years for us to build the relationship that we have now. And I'm very thankful for that relationship. And he definitely does not see me as that person. We have a little inside joke. Every year I go home, we have a birthday dinner, and he would always stand up and do a cheers and say, we never thought you would you would be dead by the time you were 25. We never thought you would make it to 30. We thought you would be dead by the time you were 30, and every year, and now I'm 42. So still here.
Does your dad have a bigger respect and love for you now than ever before?
Yes. And a lot of that has to do with the way that I stepped into the former COO's shoes here at ESI, in the way that I've taken everything over and handled the problems the way that I have.
The trust factor, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Trust is huge.
It is. And, and one thing, and you can't trust everybody.
No.
No matter how much.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, when people talk about, well, what have you overcome? It's like, well, a lot, trauma, drug use, there's always, everybody has their demons, but how you handle demons and move forward is, everything.
I gotta know, did you use your dad's self-defense tactics on that girl when she was coming at you with the knife? I'd have to know. Was it judo?
No. I just use pure survival instincts. Some of us have them, some of us don't.
Fair enough. Wow. So what ESI, thanks for sharing that personal stuff with the audience, Bethany, because a lot of people don't know that. And they go, they can, if they're listening to this, maybe they have addictions to alcohol, maybe they have addictions. And, I know a lot of special forces folks they have addictions to issues. You can relate to so many people that are listening to this podcast because we are not perfect, but we are forgiven.
Yes, we all are always forgiven.
And so based on that, it's like, now you have this whole new chapter of your life and you're like blossoming before everybody's eyes. And it's like, wow, here comes Bethany. I didn't see it coming, but I was wondering, I bet she comes back. I bet she comes back. Once you get that spoken battle on you, that confidence come back, watch out. Because you have a legacy. It's your father's business, like you said, it's a family business that he built over the years. And, it's done an amazing work in the industry. I mean, it's one of the most respected training organizations in the world.
Well, we like to think so. I mean, he did he founded the company 45 years ago. 1980 was the first class, and it was, founded by a bunch of martial artists to hone their skills to be able to, take those skill sets and start protecting those, high net worth individuals, up in Aspen. So that's where the martial arts school was. They've been running the martial arts academy in Aspen for years prior to ESI. And then was faced with a choice. Do I continue on with ESI or do I move forward with the martial arts academy? He dissolved the martial arts academy and moved forward with ESI. ESI is, the one thing I have to say about ESI is we are definitely not like any other institution that is out here. After being in business for 45 years, our concepts and our teaching is constantly evolving. We're no longer that school that focuses on those, reactive techniques, hand-to-hand combat. We spend a few days shooting and everything, but that's not, what we're here to teach you. If you want to learn how to shoot, by all means, there are some really fantastic academies to go to for that. If you want to learn, some hand-to-hand combatives, there are fantastic academies to go to. But if you truly want to learn, how to do friction reduction, informed strategy through protective intelligence, and just overall keeping your client happy by protecting their brand and their identity, you need to come to ESI because that's not what you're learning at, other schools that they're 5 days, 7 days, 9 days. You're not going in from the start to the finish of, I think a lot of people are just mind blown what we teach. They really truly think that we are, 28 days of reactive techniques. And it turns out it can hurt people's brains, trying to write a threat assessment, going through, how do I write a threat assessment? How do I do a threat management plan? How do I have these, interventive, conversations with our person of interest without reacting, without physical, creating a physical reaction. Yeah, I'm just kind of rambling on here. Sorry.
We're just talking on a podcast. All good. What was like, thanks for showing the history of the ESI. I had a hunch that it's kind of how it evolved, but I wasn't sure. So what ESI was in the past, what is your vision for what you want to do with the organization going forward?
So my vision, I think it's not necessarily my vision. It's the board's vision. It's our corporate vision. And it's what we're incorporating in our articles of incorporations and our bylaws is, to continue with, all of the principles that Bob has, formulated for over the past 45 years. And that has a lot to do with, the hunting of the predator, the preemptive intervention, protective intelligence, that those are the skill sets that we really as protectors need to hone versus, being a super secret squirrel. And so we really, we're going to continue to take those skill sets and hone them and keep them relevant to what we're seeing in the industry on the day-to-day and keep evolving our techniques for this industry rather than just going the way of one of the old giant dinosaurs.
Brilliant.
They haven't changed their curriculum in 20 years or so or anything like that. So we've got to constantly, I think of this industry similar to that of the marketing world, which is, it's constantly rapidly evolving because of technology. So we need to make sure that we're teaching the latest technology skills. Do we need to do a full course on cybersecurity? Then, yes and no. We need to touch on it during our, home executive protection programs because your regular everyday, executive protection agent needs a solid understanding of artificial intelligence, of cybersecurity, of the Internet of Things. But, are we going to expect them to be, full cybersecurity agents? No, that's not their full job, but they need to understand how those things are relevant to their current position in executive protection. And we are, of course, going to be adding, the Internet of Things to a full on, probably 3-week course here at ESI in the future as well. So we're working on that development for the curriculum.
Online. Very cool. Through your modernization going on. How many board members are on ESI? I don't even know.
Myself, Bob, Jenny, Tim, Manuel. I think we have 6 board members.
Wow. Holy cow. Okay. Quite a bit.
So we have our executive committee, which sees the day-to-day overall operations. And then we have our board of directors and our shareholders who we're responsible to. And then we also keep a board of advisors. And the board of advisors are, people who are actively working out in the industry, and they can come back and advise us on what they're seeing, needs for, in the EP side of things, the security, corporate security, and even private military contracting. And they can advise us on how to take our curriculum and where we need to drive it and the skill sets that, people in the industry really, truly need.
Right. Yeah, definitely got to have that advisory group in place, just as you say, for the changing of the industry. And it's so changing so fast as we speak.
Yeah.
I know you guys are approved for the VA, right? GI Bill and all that. Where would you say most of the eyeballs come from? Are they mainly Facebook or just the marketing you guys do on all social? How does that go and work?
I see, 8 years ago when I left, I saw, I used to be very heavy on the social media for ESI. And, after I left, I saw that ESI really kind of took a step back from the social media. And, so I'm not going to say that a lot of it comes from social media. A lot of our students come from word of mouth and referral and then just internet searches. The great Google God, optimizing, search engine optimization and search engine management. So your SEO and your SEM of things. So that's where, those are our 2 major places, word of mouth and the almighty Google. But I'm trying to work on bringing back our social media presence. But that's unfortunately going to put me at the forefront of everything. And I don't know if I want to do that. That's why, we'll address the elephant in the room first off. So,
I mean, think about it, social media controls all aspects of our lives. Unfortunately, it does. I mean, I'm on what they say, Facebook is for 40 and up or something like that. Instagram's for 40 below. And then TikTok's for 21 to 30 or 18 to 30. So it's just weird how the platforms all work and everybody's consuming information.
Yeah. So, really, if we're looking at, kids, we're really a great school for those people who are looking to start their career. They've just, getting out of, a law enforcement career. They've spent their life in martial arts and they're, in their young 20s, 30s. or, they're veterans getting out of the military, we're really the great place to start your career at. So right now, I'm going to say that most of my target demographic is on TikTok or Instagram. So I've been, making a lot of TikTok videos. I haven't personally. I think it's one of them. But, I'm having a lot of TikToks made, and the old man is one of my most, watched videos. I think Bob has like something like 20,000 views, and I'm like, the guy who doesn't even know how to use TikTok.
How old are you there now? 75?
He will be 85 next month.
85. Wow. Tell him happy birthday.
I will.
Wow. And he's 25,000 of these on TikTok. That's hilarious. Who would have guessed?
He didn't.
Was he dancing or something and stripping on the pole?
He's he's doing his normal talking about, this is introduction. Why we find it so, the premise of ESI is that we need to be the hunters, not the hunted.
Right.
And so he's going into his, great talks. And then, we've got one where it's his Kim Kardashian, type, you're going to pretend you're Kim Kardashian walking through, and you guys are going to protect. And now, and everybody rushes through, and he tells everybody, this is why you failed. Every single one of you failed this exercise. And now let me tell you why. And it's
interesting.
It's a great video, and you kind of makes you wonder, well, maybe I should go to ESI and see why I would have failed this,
Makes you question what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Genius.
Yeah.
Huh, TikTok. Bob Duggan, the star celebrity on TikTok. Who would have ever guessed? That's funny. Hey, you just got to go where the eyeballs are. You mean back in the day, we just had Yellow Book. Back in the day, we could just like you go Yahoo and do a search, and it's just so weird now how you have to find, like you said, Google's the master search daddy of them all.
1990 course catalog. So back since 1980s up until, what was it, 2010, ESI sent out a 30-page catalog to everybody who sent in an inquiry, hard page catalog.
Wow.
Catalog and digitized it, and then just started sending it out via email instantly. I was like, instant gratification. Everybody wants instant gratification.
Holy smokes.
The old ads in, martial arts or Black Belt magazine. God, what is one of the shooting magazines? God, I can't remember. It's like Search and Capture, one of those weird magazines. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to offend anybody. Yes, I used to run little black and white ads, and you had to cut out the little thing and write in your name and address and send in $5 for a catalog.
Wow. That's old school, man.
Well, yeah, because, your phone book's only good for local.
So true. So you had to go magazine or national magazine or national paper. Okay.
Yeah.
When's the last time we had a paper? I don't hardly ever see a paper. It's all digital.
It's great for starting a fire.
That's so crazy, isn't it? How we get information has changed.
Yeah, it's definitely insane. We all want instant gratification. We want it now. We want that information readily available and at our fingertips. We do not want to wait for it ever.
Share with me this if you can. What are the new students coming in industry, your courses and all that, what do they struggle with the most compared to the old school agents? What's the biggest struggle they deal with that's a generational thing?
The generational thing? Wanting that instant gratification, wanting that instant promotion. A lot of guys don't understand that, just because you have been taught certain things and you're coming out with a strong, military background, strong background in law enforcement, they don't understand that you still have to work your way up. When you come out of ESI, more than likely, unless you've been working in the industry for, 3 to 4 years prior, you have to start at the bottom of the totem pole. And I think that and it goes the same for absolutely any college degree that you receive. You got to start at the bottom and work your way up to the top. And I think that's one of the hardest things for a lot of people to understand that, yeah, you're spending $20,000 on your education for, 12 weeks of, your time and, a lot of information being given to you in those 12 weeks. But you still have to start at the bottom. You still have to earn your right to be team lead, to be the detail leader, to be the advanced leader, to be the one working right next to that high net worth person. It's a hard concept for them that you've got to start in the halls and malls and work your way up.
A lot of them want that shortcut. Is that kind of what you're seeing? Everybody wants a shortcut.
Everybody wants a shortcut to life, and there is no shortcut.
No, not at all. Yeah, I've heard that as a struggle for many, many young students coming into business. They want the cliff notes on how to break in quickly and make that $500 a day, $600 a day.
Yeah. Or more.
More.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, it is a problem. And then, thankfully that, our biggest problem used to be teaching guys how to use Google Maps and how to write, that's another one, is writing a report. For a lot of the guys, a really hard thing is learning how to write a report. So one of our requirements is that before you can graduate here at ESI, with your certified protection specialist credential, not just your certificate of attendance, you actually have to put together and write a threat assessment and threat management plan. And the concept of writing a report that, your superiors and your clients are going to be able to read is really hard for a lot of these guys. So, luckily, you visit Jenny and Aubrey, they put together this lovely little kind of manual on how to write a threat assessment and threat management plan. And they give all these guys access to it. And and they're diligently, in class helping them. Okay, this is how you do this. This is, how you format it this way. This is how you do put this information here, and give them guided steps on how to truly write, a threat assessment and threat management plan. And, report writing is an important skill set.
Now, do they struggle with the penmanship part, writing it? Is that where they struggle with it?
No.
Or the content? The content.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Who needs penmanship when we have computers?
They get their laptops out, right? They're just typing away?
Yep. Every student's is required to bring a laptop with them here. So.
Okay. So they're not writing. They're just typing it all up. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
chicken scratching.
Yeah.
You don't want to see my writing.
No, mine either.
But now you are you can take the GI Bill because you're certified with the education system or whatever. My advice to a lot of people is, well, not my advice. What I'm seeing is a lot of my friends' kids that have businesses, they're telling them not even going to school. Unless you're going to go to get trade, why are you going to college?
Mm-hmm.
And so I see a lot of that's a new conversation now. A piece of paper, like, yeah, everybody's got a bachelor's degree. Okay, and what? And so, what is your advice to those struggling with going to get a bachelor's degree versus coming to ESI? What is your advice to those folks that they're struggling to figure out? Well, maybe I'll get a degree in psychology and get my BS degree, and then go to ESI. What's your suggestions?
You have to find out really what is your overall goal. If in this day and age, no, you don't. It's not required to have a degree. If you want a degree, then go get the degree. Because you don't truly need a degree anymore. And I think that's a lot of the changes that the millennials and Gen Z are putting in place versus, the boomers and Gen X. Millennials are now coming into, running up the companies, and we have a completely different mind, set on education. So if you want a degree, by all means, go out there and get a degree. But, is that $60,000, $80,000 that you're going to be spending on that degree? Is it going to, get you to the same place that a certificate, that a vocational training institution is going to get you for a fourth of the cost? We see it all the time. Let's take my son, for example. Prior to him leaving for the Marines, he wanted to get into the cybersecurity field. Very smart young man, was hacking stuff by the time he was 15. But he was looking at his different options. Do I go to CU Boulder and spend $80,000, per semester, per year on this education? Or do I spend $20,000 on not even $20,000 on the certificates that are necessary to get the jobs that he wants in the cybersecurity field? So we weighed the pros and cons. And at the end of the day, he's like, it's a much faster, easier, and more affordable route just to go for the certificates that I'm looking for, that the companies that I want to work for will accept and recognize.
Boom.
And so that, versus taking out, even though with post 9/11, it's going to cover up to, so much money, I think $26,000 per year for 2024. And if you have 36,000 or 36 months, do the math there, about $70,000 with education. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to cover your full bachelor's or master's degree, or, especially if you're going after that master's degree, you're still going to wind up with student debt. So what's your best route to get to where you want to be in your career? If that means a degree, by all means, get that degree. If a certificate and a VOTech school is going to get you there, then do the VOTech school. Save yourself the money and the heartache and the student loans and having to deal with the government more.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, I know a lot of people reaching out to me asking for advice on what should I do? What should I do? I'm trying to break into the EP industry. And I'm like, you could probably save yourself some money. Take a one weekend course with somebody and just go network. Because usually, it's fun to shoot stuff up. I'm a Marine vet. I like shooting stuff up too, going to the range and getting that AR in my hand and just hitting some targets. I'm all for that. But when it comes down to it, you'll never use that equipment hardly ever.
Yeah.
Non-existent in the US of A and the soil of the US. You will never use an AR.
It's why we have two different training tracks. We have the high risk training track and then our ultimate executive protection training track. Ultimate, is definitely not nearly as popular, but we try to push it a lot because it's focused on, we do spend 4 days out at the range, with your handgun. That's it during the ultimate. We're focusing in on we spend 3 weeks in corporate security management, 4 weeks in executive protection. You get, we do our covert security, surveillance and surveillance detection, and then medical for the executive protection professional. Now, all those skill sets you are more likely to use here stateside, than absolutely anything else. But, sometimes people want to run around and play with rifles, and we're like, I'm not going to stop you. But this is much better for the career path that you want, unless you have plans specifically on working in a high risk environment. Yeah. And that course is not for you. And I will, I've had to have arguments with guys. And of course, I'm a woman and what do I know? You're never going to work on that side of the industry. No, I'm not going to allow you to take that class because it makes absolutely no sense for you. And,
true.
But
good advice.
I'm just looking out for what's, because honestly, the more graduates that I have here working in the States, having a successful career, the better off it is for me. I don't want to be putting out, 20 graduates a class, 40 graduates a class, and 70% of them don't find employment in the industry. That is absolutely horrible for us.
Absolutely.
That is absolutely horrible look for us. My best asset in this world is a working graduate.
Absolutely. Hands down.
And so, putting them in, going for the not cool guy stuff, going for, looking at the corporate security management classes and executive protection and covert and surveillance detection. And, medical is a much smarter route than, taking a PSD class and your designated defensive marksman. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but
you're right. You're bluntly honest. That's what corporate America wants, unfortunately.